Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have a live stream number 2 of the Breakup podcast. Hopefully it goes a little bit smoother. I know the sound sounds good in the microphone, and it sounds good in my headphones. This is a work in progress here with all this new equipment. Sometimes you wish and hope for something, and you feel like, oh, I can't wait till I get some good sound. I get a mixer, I get all this stuff, and then you go, how the hell do I use it? G-Money on deck. So it's kind of interesting. I'm using this software that actually, what is it called, Aleph?
OBS.
OBS. Yeah, I'm using this software that actually puts a bit of a delay on the camera. So having something on my headphones, and I got my good buddy doing the capture important moments instantly. Stream makers are okay. Sound is on point. Thanks, G-Money. It means a lot. It was a lot of work to do this. Actually, a couple days ago, you weren't on, and I was telling stories, and they're like, the buffering's messed up, man. The buffering's messed up. And it's like you're in the middle of the story. The camera's freezing. After about 6 minutes of saying what I had to say and then getting interrupted, I was just like, I'm fucking done. So I'm going to have a few stories today, and we're going to get it right. So, but the good thing is like I said, the sound is 10 times better than it was before. It's like Rory from the Love. This is Rory from the Love Chat, right? When I first heard that, I was like, wow, that's some clean sound, man. Some really clean sound. A little bass in there. So we have, doesn't show number of viewers actually. Kind of interesting. I am going to talk about a few stories. G-Money, I just want to ask you, how are you right now? You good? Thanks for saying what's up. I appreciate it. So if you like this podcast setup / YouTube channel, throw me a like. If you don't like it, it's better to have an opinion. If you want to send in your story to writemac.com, please do. And I'll get to that as soon as possible. I do have some stories to lay out today, which I think are pretty good. Azam, like the new format. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Sorry about last time. I think you were part of the live stream where the buffering kept happening. I hope we got that taken care of. I'm working on it. Life is good. Can't complain. That's great. A bit of adjustments needed, but heading on the right track. Yeah, if you notice anything, like you told me about the buffering issues, just tell me. I think that was I don't even know what issue it was, to be honest. But it's going to work itself out, right? The website's finally where it should be, or on the right track. So pretty soon, probably within the next month or 2 months, if someone else wants to throw their hat in the ring and do breakup coaching, I'm going to have a platform where you can actually do that on writemac.com and put your profile up. Jessica's going to be on tomorrow, too. We don't have a topic in place, so if you want one, she just turned 32 years old. And if you guys have something for a woman, 32-year-old Canadian single woman, to ask her some questions, what's a good topic that you'd like to get her take on? That would be a good discussion topic. Please let me know. Because it's been a busy, busy week. What time is Jessica's going to come on? She's coming on tomorrow. I think we'll be on about 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Indochina time. Good question. Lofty Quins. Let's put that in. So we got 5 on deck. We'll get into some of these stories because they're interesting, actually. There's actually a few interesting stories here to share. Let's get into it a little bit here. Maybe Aleph will stick around for a little bit. Aleph's the Jamie. So, first story. Hello, Coach Mac. I've got a breakup story for you. I've been watching a lot of your channel and like your approach. Here it is. I like to get to the point, dude. Good for you. I got divorced from my wife over a year ago. We had some financial issues, and honestly, she just got us in some serious debt with frivolous spending on material items. That's one of those things I've known, not a lot, but a few friends, colleagues, family members that are in relationships with serious spenders. And actually, to be honest with you, there's sometimes the males are the serious spenders. And it's an addiction to shop for shit that you don't need. And it can lead to divorce real quick. There was a friend of mine that got married. He's in his late 20s. They were together for, I only think 2 years, but prior to that, they were together 3 years. She was a nurse, which is a good job in Southern California. Made pretty good money, he said. He had a really good job. It's hard to describe what he did, but he worked for a big corporate company. And he was very into, keeping the finances right. He had a couple side things going on. He was making good money. And it was hilarious when he told me this story. He said, I pulled her aside and I said, "Hey, look, hon." He goes, I made this spreadsheet that I want to show you of all the things you've been spending money on. And she had a fit. I said, "She must not like that." He goes, "No, she wouldn't even look at it." She called him cheap. They went on, and he ended up getting a divorce over it. Not over the spreadsheet, but just the frivolous spending. He's like, we weren't able to save any money. And I think he said between the two of them, they're making $8 or $9 grand a month. Southern California is really expensive and whatnot, but he was just sickened by it. And he said they were still cool and they were able to end amicable and whatnot, but it was an issue. And if you think about it, one of the reasons a lot of people get married, is to commingle finances. Now, someone might not admit that, but when you're married and you're sharing, basically to me, if you're going to get married, you consider that person someone you want to have kids with. I don't know any other reason why you would get married other than that. Maybe that's something people don't agree with, but that's just my standpoint. But if you're going to have kids, then finances are important. How people spend money and how people get you in debt is going to create a lot of stress. So getting back to this topic, he says, in some serious frivolous spending on materials. It seemed endless. It broke us as a couple. The problem wasn't that I couldn't afford the bills. I do well for myself. But I don't spend money just to spend it for the joy of shopping. Big difference. My wife was a weekend mall rat. God, I couldn't deal with that. I remember one of my past girlfriends was I wouldn't call her a weekend mall rat, but she liked going to the mall quite regularly on the weekend. And when I first met her in her early 20s, she did have 10 grand in credit card debt from shopping. But the good thing for her, she didn't have any other bills. So she just kind of paid it off. And she was a very responsible person. So she took care of herself. She never panicked. She ended up paying it off later on. But I could see that being an issue if you're married. And the funny thing about making more money or having more money, so he's saying, like, I don't know how well off he is or how well he does for himself, but someone that already spends money easily, if they're in a marriage with someone that they consider to have a lot of money, they can go over the top, right? So my wife was a weekend mall rat. She got the practice from her mom. They literally spent weekends at the mall shopping since she was a kid. Wow, what a childhood. So now a year later, the smoke is cleared, as you say. That is a saying I say. And we are on good terms. She actually got a new job that supports her spending habits much better. Well, good for her. I don't think that her spending habits will ever change, but it's refreshing to see that she got a job that could now support that. So since the divorce, I've been actively dating for about the last 6 months. Good for you. But nothing concrete has come of it. I'm a one-woman man, and I'm looking for another long-term relationship. I'm 32, and I'm ready to go all in again, but I've been discouraged by how disappointing my dates have been. Well, that might be the problem. The fact that you've only been single for a year, and you want to go all in on a long-term relationship already. I would caution you to set yourself up to just have a good time, embrace being single, go on dates to have fun, be in the moment, rather than looking for the one that you want a long-term relationship again. And that'll, quite frankly, scare a lot of women. And if you divulge that right off the bat, someone would like it. But that might be high expectations for just dating someone early on. Now my ex and I recently got lunch to catch up, and I felt like it really went well. I'm thinking we can go out again, and she even suggested it would be nice to see me again. All right, so she's receptive. I'm still extremely attracted to her, and again, it seems part of her problem is now solved as a new job can support her spending habits. I wouldn't buy that. I would say that if she still has a spending problem, if you value saving money or not spending it on materialistic items, you're still going to have a problem with that down the road. And I venture to say if she makes more money, she probably will just buy more stuff. So I think you're reaching there because you're highly attracted to her and you haven't gotten any good action since she's left. Tell me I'm wrong. My question to you is, am I going to get burned again? I'm not sure that you got burned. It seems like you got to a point where you had a major issue in the financial department with your wife and you stood up for yourself. Now you're, like I said, you're reaching a little bit here where you're saying, well, she hasn't changed, but it helps that she makes more money now to support that habit. But what if she just keeps buying more stuff? It's still a bad habit that you don't respect. Is this a good move or a bad move? If you're trying to validate her spending habits as being okay now that she's got a better job, I think it's a bad move. I just haven't met anyone that I'm as attracted to as my ex-wife. Well, if that's the problem, then don't try to make your ex a better catch than she was when you broke up with her a year ago. The fact that you haven't met someone yet and it's only been a year and you've only been dating for 6 months, that's not uncommon. Give yourself a chance to date a little bit more. So I think I'm going to ask her out on another date. What do you think? Okay, good question. Go ahead. Do it. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. But I would highly, highly recommend the minute that you feel uncomfortable with her spending habits or the way she's treating things, I would bail. But I would also say that if you revisit this thing, don't stop dating and shed that snakeskin idea that I'm looking for a long-term relationship. Go out on dates, go out on bad dates, go out on good dates. Keep your options open. But this woman's not going to change who she is now that she's got a better job and she can pay her credit card bills better. If it was an issue that was big enough for you to divorce her, it's going to be an issue down the road. And you putting it to the side, ignoring it in some way is not going to help things. Really not going to help things. So, getting back to the live stream, let's check this out. Why is she single at 32? A single man at 32 is different than a single woman at 32. Ooh. Yikes. Yeah, I'll ask her that. She'll have an answer. Why do people say dating coaches are hurt and bitter? Never heard that one before, Stephen Daniels. Are you making a comment about myself? Who hurt you? He did the right thing. He is not an ATM, beta bucks. I'm a one-woman man. This man views himself as a man with no options. I've never heard that quote before, but yeah, I think you're pigeonholing yourself though with the idea that you need to divulge that you need to put that out there. Like, I'm a one-woman man. You know, it's like some guys will go, I would never. This idea of being too nice. I've heard guys say, take a look at the No More Mr. Nice Guy book. It seems like you have some nice tendencies that are working against you. And they immediately are like, well, I'm a romantic. It's like, okay, how's that working for you, though? She will not respect you if you are reaching to her. He is lacking options, dry spell. If she does not respect your money, she does not respect you. Just desperate her from your finance. So see how things play. Like I said, you can definitely go out on a date, but it's not going to change the circumstances that you don't like. I mean, spending habits is a value thing, right? It's one of those things that people aren't going to overlook it. A lot of people judge it in different ways, and it's not just annoying. It's something that can absolutely break up a couple. And it's already broke them up once, so why wouldn't it break them up again? So I think, like I said, it's a bit of a reach here. So I got the next story on deck. Let's get into this. Sound and delay is not bad today, I could see. Pretty good. Yeah? Much better. Thanks, Aleph. Okay, let's go to the next story. Hello, Mac. I'll get straight into it. I'm 36. My ex is 25. We were together for 5 years. We met online, and since day one, things were special. Special good. We had a lot in common, and she loved that I was older and more mature than her past boyfriends. Well, I hope so if you're, 10 or 11 years older. The last 3 years, we lived together, and that was fine until about 6 months ago when her stepbrother asked to move in. Dun, 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 dun. Because he was on hard times. Well, these are those kinds of situations where the dots get connected later on and you go, bad fucking move with good intentions. I mean, the kid didn't really have anywhere else to go. I didn't know him well, but I felt for him. So I said, let's do it. See, this is one of those situations, even though it doesn't work out, you can't get down on yourself too much because you did have good intentions. You're saying he's 18 years old. He had nowhere else to go. So you said, let's give this a shot. My now ex was happy that I did it, but she also knew her brother could be a jerk. I said it would be temporary, but right when he moved in, COVID happened and he already didn't have a job, nor did he have any idea of what he wants to do. He's 18 and just loves to play video games. So about 4 months ago, I had a serious talk with him and told him I was happy to help him get him on his feet, but he needed to find a job or start paying some sort of rent. So you dug in as an individual and you said, hey, look, here's the tough thing. A kid that's 18-year-old, I don't know his past. We don't know the background. But he's probably got an attitude like, well, you're not my dad. You don't have to tell me what to do. It's an awkward situation for you. But you know what? I would say you did the right thing. You're like, look, if you're going to stay at my house, you do have to get a job. And some people would say like, oh, you're going to charge him rent? Well, rent is showing responsibility. It's showing appreciation. My father did it to me when I was 18. And it gets you on deck as an adult that things are real. Things cost money. Life's not a game. And whether that's 18, 19, or 20, I think that he did the right thing. He said some sort of rent, so he wasn't like he's going for the gold here. He actually balked at this, saying his sister didn't pay rent. See, that's like a little smart-ass remark I could see from a kid that's not taking responsibility. But I'm going to give you some kudos for stepping up and telling him. So I went to his sister, my now ex, and said, look, he has no ambition to work, plays video games all day. I'm not supporting this, not to mention he's messy, doesn't contribute to household chores like taking the garbage out. Fair enough. So then she got upset and said, give him a break. Where can he find a job with the COVID thing? Okay, that's understandable. What I would say to that is, does he know what he wants to do? Does he want to design video games one day? And the fact that he's messy and he doesn't contribute to any household chores, it's a really awkward situation because one thing you said is he's a stepbrother. He's 18 already. So if he doesn't respect you right now from the get-go or appreciate what you're doing for him by letting him stay at the house, he probably isn't going to anytime soon. Looking back, I would have been okay if he had some sort of idea of what he wanted to do, but he had nothing. And talking to him was tough. No eye contact, constantly on his phone, zero respect for what I was doing for him, rarely said thank you for anything. Okay, so you didn't like him, right? Sounds like a punk. This list goes on. The list goes on. And you know what? The thing about having someone like that in your house, it's one thing if you had to go to a Christmas party or a family event and deal with a kid like that or something like that and make an effort. It's another thing if he's living in your house full time. Because that'll really bring things down. Excuse me. Finally, 2 months ago, I told him he had a month to find a new place to live. My ex had it out with me and told me if I kicked him out, she'd go too. So she gives you an ultimatum. And you know what? This is a tough thing. But if it's a package deal that I have to deal with your jerk 18-year-old stepbrother to be with you, I'm probably out. It wouldn't be easy, especially if you had a good relationship. He writes, I was shocked, but stood my ground and explained I didn't kick him out. I gave him 30 days. I had repeated talks with him on my expectations. He didn't seem to care. I'm with that. I think it's different to get kicked out than to give someone 30 days. And it's different to get kicked out when you have a talk with someone and say, hey, man, you need to probably throw in some rent or pay some utilities. And he just balks at it. So there were chances given. He didn't even meet you halfway. Sounds like you did the right thing. He needs some consequences, you're right. She explained he had nowhere to go. I said, I'm sorry, he's got 30 days to get creative and resourceful. I love that response. It is so true because all human beings possess creativity and resourcefulness when they need it. And that's what we get when we're at ground zero. I'm not doing him any favors by letting him stay here for free. That's when she blew and said it made it all about me wanting money from him. See, when I read this story, I'm not feeling that this was about money. This was more about this individual being responsible. That wasn't the case. I wanted some sort of respect for him to get off his ass and get a job or even just pursue some sort of career. This snowballed further over the week. Eventually, she left for a couple days to her cousin's house. Then her cousin even called me up and told me what an asshole I was for asking for money from an 18-year-old with no job or no home. Okay, so now you got the peanut gallery involved and the cheap seats chiming in. This is getting a little ridiculous. This is at a point. The problem with family members, close friends, you got to deal with them. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, you can't blame the family members or their friends. The individual that's your partner, that's your girlfriend, they need to make those tough choices. And it's a package deal in this case. And she's saying, you know, you have to deal with him if you want to stay with me. And I would say, you know what? That's not what I signed up for. It's asking for money from the 18-year-old, no job, no home. I was a bad guy now, but I just couldn't reasonably give in. He's right. I was the bad guy now, but I couldn't just reasonably give in. So my ex and her bro got a studio somewhere. She didn't want to tell me where. And she actually squirmed the deposit out of me so she could get the place. Now, 2 weeks later, she called me and said that she misses me and that her brother is sorry. He's now looking for a job and gets why you were mad. Then she came over and we got intimate. It was tremendous. I bet it was. Then the next morning, she asked when they could move back in. That was 2 days ago. So basically she's saying, you know what? We got intimate. I want to move back. We want to move back in when they could move back in. That was 2 days ago. I'm not sure it's that simple. I don't believe I want to put myself in that position, but I love her a lot. Yeah, it's a dilemma, but do you want to live with? I don't think the 18-year-old kid's going to get a job anytime soon. I think he'll be a problem for a while. And the fact that he likes to play video games, he's lazy, he lacks ambition, that's not something that's going to change in 2 weeks by living in a fucking studio. Let's be honest. So you're going to have to the thing is, you're going to have to deal with that. You've already done it for, I think you said 4 or 5 months. No bueno. Let it go. You got to move on. You got to have some confidence in yourself that you can. The crazy thing is, I know individuals over the years that are married, not with kids, and they have in-laws living with them or sisters or brothers, and it's fucking hell. And they don't have an out. They don't feel like they have an out because divorce would mean they can't see their kids. They got to split up the house. And I watch from the sidelines. I go, wow, that is a price to be with your girl or your wife. Jeez. In your particular case, you don't have kids, you're not married, don't have assets together. Have some confidence and move on, dude. I'm thinking we can stay living apart and seeing each other for a while. You probably could, but she's probably going to attempt to manipulate you with intimacy to eventually move back in, and that's going to be a choice. To her, and she, I don't understand. To her, and she said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay, so she said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So she's basically saying, you can't have me without moving in my brother. Not sure what she means by that completely. That's what she means. I'm not going to see you on the side unless we get to move back in. So we can have a great night of passion, but if I want to continue things, I got to take her deadbeat brother. What's your take? I wouldn't take the brother on. I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's easy for me to say from the sidelines, but nope. No way. Jose. Just desperate from your finances. Okay, red alert. Do not move in unless married. This is the price he pays for moving his girlfriend in. He wanted easier access to her and got her brother instead. He's a man in his 30s. What does he want a 20-something-year-old girl in with him for? Well, there's a lot of guys in their 30s that would like a woman that's in her 20s, I suppose. This is a grown man who's expecting a woman in her early 20s to be completely rational about this situation. It's a good question, G-Money. So, got another story here. We're cooking here. Mac, thanks for your content. It helps. Here's my story. I'm 27. My ex is 28. He left me 2 weeks ago. I miss him a lot. He said I drink too much and complain about everything. I'm not buying it. Sounds like you're in denial, hon. I've always drank on the weekends only, and sometimes about once a month I get drunk. Okay, I'll believe you. He drinks too, so I don't know why it's an issue for him. As for complaining, this year has been tough for me. I lost my job during COVID, and I also lost a close family member a couple months ago. Well, I'm sorry to hear both of those items. He, on the other hand, just got a promotion and also just won some substantial money gambling. Okay. I thought he would take me on a vacation or buy me something. Instead, he broke up with me literally within a week of getting this money and went looking at condos. Well, that's clarity. So that's one of those things. Someone, you can complain about it. You can tell all your friends and blow the whistle. What a jerk. I can't believe he did that to me. I've been together for... Basically what he said is, now that I got some money, now that some luck's been my way, let me get honest with you, and I don't want to be with you long term. And the idea that he said I drink too much and complain about everything, and you're saying I'm not buying it, the question is, do you trust his words? Why aren't you buying it? So the opinion of someone being a drunk or drinking too much is an opinion. He's saying for him, for girlfriend material, you drink too much. He's saying that you complain about everything. The idea that, you lost your job and you lost a loved one recently, this could contribute to you drinking more and complaining more. But he's saying he's had enough. So whether you want to buy it or believe it or not is up to you. But here's what you have to do. At some point, you got to accept that that's the way he feels, right? And if someone wins a substantial amount of money, or let's just change it to an inheritance, and they somehow leave you within that period of time, that's clarity. It's like, I knew we had problems and I have whined a lot. So now you're admitting that you whine a lot, but it's not fair to break up over this. Life's not fair. Breakups aren't fair. He's looking at it like this, and let me just, this is why you send me your stories, because you want someone honest, non-biased, and objective. Do you think it's fair to be with someone that you think drinks too much and complains about everything and whines a lot? Is that fair for him to deal with that anger? I mean, I don't know the specifics. So we did a live coaching session. We can unpack this further and you can get a little deeper. But is it fair for him to stay with you? Here's a really crazy thing. When someone's in the dumps outside of the breakup, what I mean by that, you feel like everything's going wrong. Things are really bad. You lost your job. You lost a loved one. I feel for you. Sometimes people will give you a week on that. Sometimes people will give you a couple weeks. People don't want to give you months of that. And if they live with you and they're your partner, some people will not put up with it for 2 or 3 months. And if their life's going really well, they can't relate. And there's an expiration date on that. And sometimes if you're in a situation where you're whining a lot, or maybe you drink too much, which you're kind of in denial about, a breakup's a really good thing to happen, because you need to take a step back and assess what's true and what's not true and what you want to improve about your life. Think about it this way. Losing a job is an opportunity to find a new one that suits you better. Losing a loved one is an opportunity to look at life as too short. And how do I want to make things better in my own life as an individual? I was hoping, okay, so it's like I knew we had problems and I've whined a lot, but it's not fair. The breakup is over this. I was hoping for some compassion, I guess. Now that we are broken up, the only thing I got to keep was the cat and the apartment. He moved out and he paid for 1 month's rent and told me to keep his part of the deposit. That's actually not, I mean, there's a lot of people that complain that they get stuck with the rent. So he gave you 1 month's rent. He lets you keep the deposit. He lets you keep the cat. I'm sure he let you keep the furniture and whatnot. He's basically saying he's done. He's saying he's done, and he's saying, just to be clear with you, there's no hard feelings. And he's moving on. He's moving quick. And you could feel like that's not fair. It's real, though. So I have an apartment and 1 month's rent. It just feels like everything happened so fast. He made it clear that he loves me and cares about me, but just wants to be single again. But I'm thinking he's maybe seeing someone else. You can think it, but you don't know. So don't hang on it, because it's been 2 weeks of crickets. Why wouldn't he call me just to see how I'm doing? Doesn't even care about me. Well, he told you he loves and cares about you. He gave you 1 month's rent. And the interesting thing, he told you exactly what his problems were. You complain too much and you drink too much. You don't agree. So now you agree to disagree. And I'm sure he's hinted over the last 6, 7, 8 months about you complaining too much or you drinking too much. And you kind of just put it to the side. And the drinking thing is, like I said, it's an opinion. Some people that drink every weekend, some people don't ever think they get drunk. It's like, I'll tell you what, I've had girlfriends before that drank too much, and it's fucking embarrassing when your girlfriend's drunk in a public place. And, you know, I've been drunk before. I'm no angel. I'm no saint in my own life. But it'll wear on you if it becomes a habit, and even if it's just the weekend. And sometimes you can't videotape yourself while you're drunk, because if you did, you'd go, oh, my God. And so that's an issue that he's told you, but you're not accepting it as truth, and that's okay. But this idea that it's unfair, you got to let that go, because that's not going to serve you moving forward. Why wouldn't he call me just to see how I'm doing? Doesn't he even care about me? If I want him back, do you have any suggestions? I think it's pretty crystal clear why he left and why he's out. And so what I would say to you is that the best approach for you to do is not chase, not look for pity, not throw a guilt blanket around him every time you talk to him. That's one of the things I've noticed. Men do it too. Women do it more often. If they're upset with the breakup, they throw guilt darts, and they just do this. Oh, you never cared about me. You don't even care about me. It's like, he said he loves and cares about you, and he wants to be single again. He's being crystal clear about it, what happened, what went down, his reasons. You got to deal with it. Okay, Boss Man. Hey, Matt, good content. My ex broke up with me. I moved to another state, got a new job, car, apartment. She views all my stories when I post. She's the first, or one of the first, only post positive. So what do you want, Boss Man? What do you want from that? Let me ask you this, because I always recommend to people, one of the best things you can do out of a breakup, a painful breakup, one you're having trouble with, if you have the ability to move and change environments, change jobs, it's going to suit you down to the boots. It's going to really help you move forward. Boss Man, did that help you? Rejection to a woman is when you deny her your resources. This is the ultimate rejection to them. Man, I've never heard that put that way, G-Money, but I would actually agree in most cases. Not all, because there's always exceptions to the rule. But, yeah, that is very true, especially if you've been together a long time, and especially if you as the man makes more money, which isn't always the case. Luna Martinez, how are you, my friend? I've improved plentiful in various aspects of my life since I last commented on one of your live streams. Well, that's good to hear, bro. How's Vegas right now? Is it crazy over there with everything that's gone on? Are you still there, or did you move back to SoCal? Just curious. I do remember. And did you ever start taking advantage of the fact that you're in a place that's plentiful to meet new women? So we got... Have we had any buffering issues today? Just out of curiosity. Firestream. Thanks, bro. So much better with sound. It's so funny because having headphones on and having this kind of sound, it's awkward at first. It's really awkward at first. At first you're like, I don't know if I'm comfortable having these headphones on or this sound. It's really different. Hey, how long does no contact work on average? Repaw, can you make that question a little bit more clear? I'm not sure what you mean. How long does no contact? Yes, it did, but I still have feelings. We were together 2 years when she reached out. She told me she felt the same about me. It's, yes, confusing on how to approach the situation. Yes, it did, but I still have feelings. We were together 2 years when she reached out. She told me she felt the same about me. Okay, so you want to send your story in, boss man? You want to get it unpacked or what? No contact works for 37 days. 37 days, 12 hours, 6 minutes, and 30 seconds to be correct. And then you're also supposed to a little turmeric, witch hazel, and honey that night. And if it's a full moon, make a wish. Thanks for the likes, folks. I appreciate it. Repa, where are you from, Repa? I would, to be honest with you, you haven't come on the live stream before. Maybe you've watched some of my channel. What I stand by is I need to know your story. So, as I'm unpacking these stories that get sent in for public YouTube videos, they don't share nearly as much as the private video responses. So I do a private video response, and those stories are usually longer and more detailed. So someone goes, hey, I don't want you to share this on YouTube, but can you just do a private video response? Sure, no problem. I do charge for that. I do charge for the public ones also. Now, that being said, the live coaching session gets way deeper. Way deeper. So if you have any issues with your breakup where you got that mouse wheel in your head and you keep going over something, I call it an open loop. Usually you can't get clear on why it happened, or you can't let go. Those people, when you talk for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you really get into the nitty gritty of what went down in your breakup story, and it's a story. You don't realize that, but you're telling a story of what happened. And here's the crazy part: the story. If you went to other people that knew of your breakup and knew of your relationship, they'd have a different storyline about your breakup. Your ex has a different storyline about your breakup. So you always think that your story's true, and you think it's 100% true, and then there's parts of it where you're not sure, and that's the parts that eat you up. Like, will they ever come back is the big one, right? And the reality is, getting someone objective, non-biased like myself, or someone else out there, to take a look at it, that you respect their opinion, is really helpful and useful in you moving forward. There's exes I have not talked to in years. Looks like no contact is still working. Luna Martinez, Vegas has been stale. What a word. I don't want to live anywhere that's stale. The locals have strayed away from the strip. As usual, I've been good, Mac. I stopped looking up my ex for a year now, and it helped me move on for the heartache I felt. So you're going to move from Vegas then if it's stale? Well, what a description. I'll tell you what I've always lived by. Live where people go on vacation. You're an OG. Haven't heard that term in a while. My apologies. 2-year relationship. It was good. It was good. Had ups and downs. Had a little business clothing store. COVID-19 causes the clothing store. Causes to close the store. Had money issues, problems, fighting. She ended it. I left another. Excuse me. Money issues are big in a relationship, man. They're really big. And people from the outside can make their assumptions and different things. I started from zero. It's been since April to this date. I got a new job, car, apartment. Now she's viewing all my stories. Well, good for you, boss man. You identify with being a boss. Good for you. Where did you move? Let me ask you this, because this is what I always recommend to people. Move somewhere you're excited about. I remember there was a woman that was, I think she was in Melbourne. I've never been to Melbourne, but I heard it's similar to San Francisco. It's really expensive. It's supposed to be a really nice place to live also. I've met quite a few people actually here in Phuket that are from there. But she was really upset because she had to sell her house. And I said, well, what's the coolest place? Because she didn't want to leave Melbourne. I'm like, what's the coolest place you could live in Melbourne? Like, is there a downtown that would be closer to some nice restaurants and some cafes? And she's like, yeah, that would be cool, actually. That would be where I'd want to live. I go, because that's part of embracing being single. Like, where would it be cool? Where would it be cool to now live? I remember that's what changed. That was a game changer for me out of a breakup. It's like, where do I want to live? That's the truth, bro. I'm not messing around, G Money. I lived in when I first moved out of the Bay Area. I lived like 5 minutes from SFO, and moved down to San Diego, and I was gonna plan on moving in with some roommates, some buddies that were in college and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? I want to live by the beach. I got myself in a studio. It's a little expensive at the time. Then 2 years later, I had some roommates. We lived in Mission Beach, which was like stone's throw to the beach. People would walk by, and we'd be hanging out barbecuing, having beers, and they'd be like, you live here? And they would this was before Airbnb. They'd be like, and they would get the houses for the weekend. It's like, you want to live where people go on vacation. Think about that for a moment. It's possible. South Carolina, for me, I just have so many ties in Ohio, and I hate leaving people. Well, it's a choice, bro. It's a choice. And you know what? Everyone's like, one of my really good friends who actually lives on his own, but he has a really big family. He's Liberian. He has a huge family. And he's like, man, I could never leave my family, bro. And I said, but you haven't lived at home, you haven't lived nearby. He's like, yeah, but just for family gatherings and stuff. And it's a choice. It's a choice. And it's confusing because she said she would not bother with me. Well, people change and times change. This is a really good point, boss man, because, and I'm glad you came on today to chime in. I appreciate you, bud. And I like the confidence in the name boss man. So when people first break up, shit goes down, things are said. And then when you're sitting there at home and you don't talk for 2 months or 1 month or 3 weeks or whatever it is, people always do this. Are they ever going to talk to me again? Will they never talk to me again? It's like, actually, who knows? But to put never and forever is just dramatic. It's just dramatic. Deal with it now. If she did not want when you were down, why the hell should she get you when you're on top? Yes, I love the weather. It's nice. We are in Mexico. Mexico. Good for you, man. I've been to Tijuana, which those are stories I probably won't tell. Man, Tijuana, Tijuana was, because living in San Diego, we'd go down there sometimes for the weekend. I've been to, what's the other place? Papa's and Beers. Been to Cancun once. You're in Tijuana? Oh, my God. You moved to Tijuana? Are you from Mexico originally, or are you from the States and then moved to Mexico? We were in Guadalajara. Okay. Man, what a crazy reach on that. How you know what? I don't know Tijuana that well. So I will tell the story. I will tell the story, actually. It's kind of a crazy story. We were in college, and when I say I was in college, I was in junior college, so that's a stretch, right? I was in junior college. I was probably 21, I would say. We went down there for like a Friday night or Saturday night. Keep in mind, when you live in San Diego, you can go, you know this, boss man, you can go to Tijuana in like an hour, 45 minutes. So we went with a group of friends, and I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 of us, right? And one of my friends was always the type when he would try to talk to a girl, he would always like pinch him in the side, or but he'd be touchy, right? He wasn't with someone that like crossed the line, but the girls would always be like, "What the hell?" Da-da-da. And he'd be like, "What's up?" That was like his game. He'd like pinch him in the side or something like that, and then most of them that I witnessed would get pissed, right? And I never witnessed it working. So he did this, and we were on the street in Tijuana, and some girl got pissed, and she was like, "What the hell? Why'd you touch me?" Da 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 da. And he was like, "What? What's up?" Da da da. And then the police came over, and they had like M16 machine guns, and they were like, "What happened?" Da da da. And actually, the woman, she was like in her early 20s. She had pity for the situation because she was like, "It's okay, it's okay." They were like, "No." They pull up this tank, this like truck tank, and they're like, "Get in." I remember thinking like, "Damn, I'm not getting in." I was scared. And my friend that actually pinned, and they were like, "Who did it? Who did it?" I remember that's how it went down, and no one would admit it. And I was thinking to myself, "Hey, man," like I was thinking to myself, I wasn't gonna say it, but my buddy that did it, he was a D1 wide receiver, right? He was fast, and I was thinking he's gonna book, and he didn't. But eventually, while they were demanding us to get in the thing, it was so weird because they stopped, and some tourists that were in town took a picture with them in their M16s, and then they came back to us, yelled at us some more, and then one of my friends just begged them to leave us alone, and they ended up just letting us go. I don't even think they asked us for money or anything like that. But it was just scary. I just remember being like, wow, the police have machine guns? Like they're carrying automatic weapons. Different land, my friend, boss man. Different land, huh? Thanks, G Money. I'd love to move back to California soon. I finally began receiving unemployment insurance benefits this past week, and it's opened many doors for me mentally. Well, that's good. That's really good. It's funny because everyone's leaving California. Everyone's leaving California, it feels like. Now, my question would be, why is she views my post knowing that I know she views it? It's like confusing. Boss man, how old are you? And what's your age range? I mean, here's the thing about social media. Some people are more active than others. It's a way for her to keep tabs on what you're up to. It doesn't necessarily mean someone wants. It's very passive to have interactions on social media. She's 39. 39. She's 38. Well, congratulations. I'm 39 too, man. Welcome to the game. Should I proceed if I still have feelings? I have to not reach out to her even though I want to. Well, she, okay, Bossman, we'll unpack this right now. Number one, what do you want, and what was the major problem in the breakup? Did you hear that burp? What was the major problem? And is that problem been fixed since you've been apart? Oh, LA native. Okay. You got a lot of relatives in San Diego. Yeah. San Diego is great. I haven't been there in a long time, but Mission Beach and PB was lovely. It's curiously, you just don't know the reason for her viewing your story. I went through the same thing. Matt can remember me mentioning that same situation in the past. Focus on yourself, boss man. It's one of those things you won't know, but I think we read a lot into it. But like I said, social media is passive. If she wants you back or she wants to contact you, she will. And you guys can revisit things. The question, like I said, what was the real reason you broke up? Has that gone away? And why do you want to revisit things possibly? Is it just because you haven't met someone else? Have you been really putting an effort in? Do you really think things could work? Or are you reaching a little bit? Sometimes when people don't ask themselves, they've just been lonely, lack of communication, fighting, had anger issues, and yes, I'm working every day to fix the issues. And so you're saying that you had the anger issues? Exactly. If someone wants you bad enough, you'll know. There won't be any second guessing about their intentions. A lot of times, yeah, the door's open, man. Maybe the boss man. Well, maybe the breakup had to happen because I've dealt with some clients that have anger issues and have done, but not physical. Thanks for clarifying that, because that is one thing. I don't judge people harshly for a lot of things because I never walked in anyone else's shoes but my own. And this is something I've realized at 39 years old. We all want to judge everyone. We all want to, oh yeah, I can't believe this. Like we've never lived in more of an age where everyone's a fucking critic of everyone else. It's like sports, right? I love football, basketball, and baseball, and I've just had to take a break because it's just what it's become is like it's less watching sports and it's in everyone's business. There's personal lives. It's become politically charged. But the way some commentators like ESPN and these things dissect people's performances is just outrageous when they never played before. A lot of these guys. I mean, you can't, it's like you have anger. The thing is, man, lack of communication, fighting, had anger issues. Your anger issues come from something. If you want to do a live coaching in the future, if you want to break that down, I'll help you with it. There's a root to everything, and it's much deeper than you just being angry with your girlfriend. And the fact that you broke up and you wanted to work on that, that means it's a productive breakup already, and that you've been able to look in the mirror and go, all right, I don't want to be this way. Because if there's no consequences to your actions, then you won't change. Lack of communication can be a two-way street. That's not necessarily something for you to get too bent on yourself, that maybe you weren't meeting each other on the bridge. I call it meeting each other halfway. And fighting's very vague. I mean, what specifically were you fighting about? Money issues? You know, different things like that. Are those things fixable? It's a really good question to ask yourself. Yes, I feel the same. It had to happen for me to realize all my mistakes, and I'm graceful for that. Now I know that I was wrong, and I like the new me, more patience. I see things differently now, I feel. So how long has it been since you broke up to get to this point? I'll tell you one thing I missed about going down to Tijuana, even San Diego's, those street tacos. Mexican food's my favorite food. We actually have Mexican food here in Thailand, too. Like, I would like to get her to get to know the new me. She's viewing all my stories. I mean, okay, so let me ask you this, boss man. Did she need to make some changes? Or was it all you? I mean, is there some things that she could work on? Broke up in this past April to this day. Okay. Once you really, truly change after the breakup, 90% of the time, you do not even want the person back. Still wanting them back shows me the person hasn't moved on at all. I'll tell you something interesting. I know, looking back at some of my breakups, I thought I changed 3 months or 6 months after for certain things. But I didn't. I would revert back to some habits or some different things. And then I'd look back years later and I'd be like, oh, shit. I actually just went back to the same way I was before, which wasn't always bad. I mean, there was just different things. She's quick to make decisions without thinking. So impulsive. That's hard to deal with sometimes, especially if you had a business together. The interesting thing about this, let's see here. Yeah, they don't give me a minute on this. Let's get back to here. What time length are we at right now? This is what's interesting about this software I'm using. If it's meant to be, she'll come back and reach out to you when the time's right, if it happens. It's like one of those things people in a breakup are like, I don't want to hear that shit. It's so true, though. That's a bonus. Right on, Luna. If you're not okay, you'll come out the other end of the tunnel a stronger individual. That's the gospel right there, Luna. The most important thing that you can do is create some kind of compelling or exciting thing to look forward in the future. There's a client of mine right now that I've been doing live coaching with, really good dude. And he's just going through a situation where he knows he's doing the right thing with not contacting, or he's sick of some things. And that's a big step when you get sick of the same things happening over and over again. He's actually gotten to a point now where he just goes, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Because she might not. I'm like, this relationship is not going to get better. The circumstances are not going to get better. And so he's having a lot of trouble with that. But he just went on his first date that went really well. And it was funny because he asked me, he goes, man, he goes on, compared to like a lot of these other people you talk to and stuff, am I really messed up? Am I fucked up? I'm like, no. People ask me that a lot. Like, I bet my story is one of the worst. No. Man, there's been some ones where I'm like, wow. And the toughest ones are marriage and kids. I mean, that's tough. That's tough. That's a whole nother dynamic to a breakup that's so much deeper. Because what is marriage? To death do us part? Not really. Not in a lot of cases now. If it's meant to be, she'll be back. We had a lot of history. We dated back in L.A., and for destiny reason to reconnect in Mexico, it's crazy, but truly feels like things were not finished with us. When she reached out and said the same thing, but I practice that. I'm preaching. Boss, man, this is coming from a guy who left behind a 6-year relationship. It's tough. The thing I was just telling this guy, like I said, coach, I'm like, it's not easy. There's no shortcut. And, you know, the crazy part about a breakup is that I remember a family member told me this, and I didn't really get it. It's not what you want to hear, but it's like going through it up front, being hurt, being upset, being angry a little bit, but being distant from the breakup. It's actually part of the healing. That's actually gonna. If you get through the other end of the tunnel, as Luna just said, and I've used that expression before too, you'll be healed up. But if you keep tearing off the scab and going on social media or talking on the phone and trying to, basically it's like living in a house or driving a car that is unfixable, and then you just keep trying to make it work. And the reality is you need to get a new house or a new car or move somewhere else. Got upset one night because did not answer her call, and she said I was with someone being intimate on it, but I was not. Well, I mean, if that's the way you're going to start things, that's a pretty faulty way to start. Dominic Harder, my life sucks. Okay. Did you have a question, Dominic? I don't know if that's a good opening. Till death do us part, or whenever I feel like it and bored. You have to face your emotions, let it out. It's okay to feel sad when need be, but don't burn yourself in that dark hole. Within time, you'll feel better. It really does take time. Social media fasting is good. Getting away from social media. Exercise is big. Activities are big. Changing your routine and changing your habits is big. The reality is, until you meet someone else that might not necessarily be their equal, and you might not have a long-term relationship, but you get some kind of inkling that you could meet someone else that could fill some of the voids of that ex, there's going to be a void. There's going to be a void. And that doesn't mean you need to get with someone right away, but you need to get yourself in a position to get yourself back on the horse and date again. It really does, Mac. I've been MIA from social media for a year and a half. I haven't posted my face at all. Man, it's they say there's a isn't there a documentary right now called The Social Dilemma that's supposed to be really telling? It helps taking a break from social media to find yourself. Yeah. I mean, me being 39, I've never been a social media hound. Thankful for that. I didn't grow up with it. And me just doing Instagram recently for the channel and for my website and stuff, I find myself scrolling through Instagram just once a day, and it just gets you for like 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, it's like I said, it's passive. So it's passive socializing, because everyone's going like, "Oh, did this person mean this or know this?" It's not 20% what a social interaction in person would be. Haven't met someone focused on myself, working out, and now with my job, I literally have no time working Monday to Saturday. Well, good for you. That's a good thing, bro. And the fact that it's only been since April, you still got time, man. You know, one thing I was really proud of myself when I was out of my breakup is that I was able to value, and some people don't like this, I've suggested to some people, like getting some alone time and actually just being alone during your breakup is not a bad thing, to get in touch with what you want in the future, where you want to go next, who do you want to be as an individual, what do you want to do. You know, I would literally go on runs or walks just by myself for an hour, 2 hours. Hey, Mac, has Sabina been around? Yeah. Wondering if she's still part of the team here. Yeah, she's on. She's been on. She just comes on at different times. Absolutely. I haven't been doing live streams for the past week. I've been waiting for this stuff to come in. Let's be real. Sabina would probably be a... I have no idea. I have no idea, but she does want to be a coach. She did ask me, because writemac.com, I'm going to have profiles available if you want to do coaching, G-Money. If you want to do something on the side, bud, I'm opening up the floodgates. I haven't clarified all the things to do, but I'm going to, if you want your profile up there, G-Money. There are people that go, is G-Money on? What was your name before? James Canfield or something? James, he had another name, and he went for G-Money, which is probably better, right? Yeah, we got a squad here. So, many names. Good for you. I need your opinion on something that's been bothering me lately, Mac. Go ahead. Sounds like you're setting me up for a joke here, but I'll bite. Right on, boss man. Do your thing, bud. Have a good day. Enjoy TJ, man. Maybe you can get out to San Diego on a weekend or something like that. But you're doing the right thing. Keep your head up, bud. It'll get better. And you know what? One of the closing things I'll tell you, always be in control of your self-talk. You're in your car by yourself, your mouse wheel's running, you're getting negative, man. Stop that little mouse on the wheel and just go, stop it. I'm doing good things. I got a new job. Re-encourage yourself. Reassure yourself that you're doing the right things. Self-talk's big. It's big. You're the voice in your head. Get control of that. You start getting negative, redirect that. Be your own big brother. Be your own coach. I got to do it myself sometimes. What's up, roller girl? Should we get to another story here? Should we get to another story? I've got a dandy. I'd love to get G Money's opinion on it because he's not always on deck. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. Real quick. All good, bud. If it continues on, I'm here for you if you want to do a live coaching session. 7 a.m. Vegas time. We got someone else that's here from Vegas, Roller Girl. Let me pull this up real quick. Someone had sent this in. Maybe I'll save it for when Jessica's on because she did ask for Jessica's opinion. I don't know if I got into these. In for right. I've been aching to move back to California on my own these past couple of months. Every time I mention that idea to my parents, siblings, and brother and in-law, they all scold me about it. Why? Because California's changed since you've been gone, which I've heard. So what's your reasons for wanting to move back, and what's your reasons for them scolding you about it? And what's your intention in moving back? Oh, whenever you have a tough decision to make in your life, what's your intentions? On a scale of 1 to 10, does it excite you? The idea of moving back, does it excite you to move back? Why? I don't know why your family would scold you about that. Seems like everyone is trying to move away from Cali these days. It's true. I'll tell you what, man. Joe Rogan, what's the other? Ben Shapiro, like all these people that are moving, they just, on their way out, they just took parting shots of California really bad. A lot of it, they can say all they want. A lot of it comes, I don't know the situation in LA with the homeless, which I've heard has gotten really bad. And because I haven't been in that area in years. And I haven't lived in California in 11 years. I've been back once a year for a month, but not in the major cities. Like, I just know that the Bay Area got outlandishly expensive, and the traffic is really bad. And people deal with it because the salaries are really high. But I did think at some point, and I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus, but I did think at some point that jobs were going to go more and more online, where people could work from home. And I didn't predict COVID or any of that shit jump starting it. But this digital nomad thing and people living abroad, me living abroad, I was like, there's gonna be a mass exodus of people that can work online, that are gonna move to places that aren't so expensive, that are still nice. And I think they're doing that in the States. California is beautiful. Maybe the Hollywood people are losers, but it's God's country. I mean, there's parts of it that are nice. The funny thing about California, there's parts of it that are like When I was a kid, like Northern California, real Northern California, not the Bay Area, but Northern, it's just a lot of farms. It's a lot of, no trees or anything like that. So San Diego is nice. I'm a beach person, so the beaches in the Bay Area aren't very nice. They claim I will not make it on my own. I miss the environment. I moved to Vegas to help me during my breakup. And now that I'm back on my feet, I know what I'm seeking. I just feel in tune there. Well, here's the thing. When people make assumptions about you, you can use it as fuel or you can take it on the chin. I mean, you can say to yourself, all right, I'm going to prove them wrong. Save up some money and have some sort of plan. It's expensive as hell, though, right? I mean, it's more expensive. So I think what they're saying is have a job waiting, have an idea, have some money saved up. But I'll tell you what, dude, life's too short, man. Life's too short to not be happy where you're at. And if you're single and you don't have any people that are depending on you or any anchors around you, then if you really want to go back and you miss that environment, go back, and you could probably move back to Vegas at some point. So I would say go for it, and you don't need your family's blessing in that. Do it. Just do it, as the great Bo Jackson said. All right, folks, any closing questions at this point? It's been a really good stream. I like the new sound. I hope you do too. Hope it's been crystal clear. I hope the buffering isn't so bad, because that was really irritating last time I was on. But this has been good. I'm gonna have many more regular streams. I'm using it as fuel, Mac. I have the determination to start my new life back in my hometown. I have my finances straight and a job or two waiting for me out. Oh, if you have a job waiting for you, I know I can prove them wrong. You just go for it, man. Yeah, you sound and look good, Mac. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate that, hon. Thanks, Mac. Take care. You take care too, G-Money. You're good people. And consider it if you want to do some coaching on the side. I would definitely welcome you in. Luna Martinez, welcome. Yeah, man, if if that's where your gut's taking you, go for it, man. Go for it. And the Vegas experience probably just proved to you that you want that you miss home. Sometimes being away from home I remember when I lived in San Diego, I'm like, I'm never gonna move from San Diego. I love it here. And then when I moved back to the Bay Area for I don't know, was it 5 years or something? And then I thought to myself, I didn't want to live in my hometown forever, but it was a good time. It was a good moment. All right, folks, I'll be on at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Indochina time, which I don't know what that time is for you, but that's usually the usual time I'm on. Jessica will be on, and we'll talk about being a single woman in your 30s and what that entails, because she just turned 32. She just had her birthday, so maybe we'll unpack that as G-Money suggested. All right, folks, have a good evening, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Take care, and it is curtains.